All right, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Okay, that is working. What's going on? Let me know if you're here. Hello, 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 hello. Why is it so dark in my room? There we go. Got a little bit of light. Change this photo. I can't change the photo. That's awesome. Live right now. Live Q&A. Live right now. Live Q&A. Live right now. All right. Who's here? If you're here, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if you're here. If you have any questions. Today's a good day. Good day. So, here to help you guys. Give it a couple minutes for everybody to get in here. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry it's so dark in here. Hey, Mari, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Apologize for it being so dark. I'm not in my office today, so. How's your week going? Productive, I hope so. Hey, Victor, how's it going? How's y'all's week? Y'all staying busy? I don't know about where you're from, but it was very nice here weather-wise, so it's been a good change of pace because it's been really cold. It's still a little bit cold, but we got some warmer weather finally. Yeah, yeah. Today's a good day. So I just locked up a property. It's a 24 unit, and I got a buyer who's interested at a $99,000 wholesale fee. So uh, hopefully, if things work out today, if I get a call, it's probably from my buyer, so I gotta answer it. But if things work out, it'll be a good month for me, that's for sure. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. What are you going to do when the market crashes as far as rental properties? Well, even when the market crashes, rental properties are going to be easier to find then because people are not going to be able to sell their house. So more than likely they're going to be wanting to sell. More people are going. It's easier to be a wholesaler in a down economy than it is to be in an up economy, and that's my opinion. Because right now anybody under the sun can sell their piece of crap house for top dollar, whereas in a down economy or a down market, you got people who need to sell and they can't because nobody pays them what they need. So that's when they go to other sources, and people are things like that. I know. Are you going to buy? That's my plan. My plan is to stack up cash, and when the market goes down, is buy as much properties for as little money as possible. So subject to is going to be big. Um, Also, just owner financing, things like that. So it's going to be a great way to get into properties cheap, cheap and easy. And I don't, I've never done a subject to. I've never done owner finance anything, but it's I mean, it seems fairly easy. You just need a title company who can set the terms for you, whatever terms you set up, and they do the rest, honestly. So they can even hold escrow for you, so that way the payments get put into there. I mean, I think these courses for those kind of things are really not needed. I think wholesaling is like the only thing that's kind of more intricate than that. What about you? What's your all's plan for real estate? Do you plan on buying rentals? What'd you got? What'd you get into real estate for? I think rentals is the only way to go, just because of the passive income, and you're basically putting money into something that never loses its value unless it burns down, and then you can claim insurance. So, and you get to write it off in taxes. So you're making money on top of money, which is amazing. I plan to switch to surplus funds. I like it better than but wholesaling now. Plan on switch to surplus funds. I like it better but wholesaling now. Yeah, wholesaling I think is the best strategy avenue to get into real estate because it trains you to know what a good deal is. It trains you how to talk to sellers, how to find sellers and properties, and you're building a network of people who are possibly your private money lenders, cash buyers. I mean, you're just opening yourself up for a wide variety of solutions by being a wholesaler, and that's why I think wholesaling is the best thing to get started in real estate. And that's my personal opinion. And I'm really happy that I stumbled on it by accident because otherwise I'd probably try to be buying apartments at retail price, somehow thinking I'm going to make money off of it. So when I first started, man, I thought I was going to go out and buy a 24 unit apartment building with the $10,000 that I had in my bank account. For some reason, I thought I could do that. But what is surplus funds? What do you mean by that? Curious. If you're just joining the channel, ask any real estate questions you have. It could be business questions, anything. Ask away. That's what I'm here for. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's unclaimed money from the state, and you help them recover it and charge a percentage. Look up spender van. Huh, that's interesting. It's kind of like I feel like that's like a bounty hunter, like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Spencer Van. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That sounds very interesting. So are you like a private hire? Like you gotta apply for it, or you just on your own you go out and search for the money, you collect it, and then the state pays you. Sounds just like a bounty hunter. You still selling scripts? Yeah, I'm still selling my script. I am. In some states you do, but for most you don't. I can't imagine how that would go. Would you just show up to somebody's house and say, "Hey, listen, I need you to pay me right now. I'm here for the state." Like, how could they trust you? And then also, how do you know you're not going to get like shot or something? That's what I'd be worried about. Be like the tax collector. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. It's virtual like wholesaling. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, if you could track down somebody to get the surplus funds, then you could probably track somebody down for property they own. Actually, the one that I'm doing right now, the wholesale I got, the one that might be a $99,000 deal. I had to find the owner. Actually, I found it the property by accident, and I found the owner within like an hour. It was owned by an LLC. Yeah, I'll look up Spencer Van. I'll look that up for sure. Never heard of that before. It just sounds like an interesting thing to do. Have you made any money off of that yet, or are you just focused on wholesaling? That is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. What's up? What's up? If you have any wholesaling questions, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Just focus on wholesaling now while bird dogging and learning the process. Yeah, bird dogging is a great opportunity to meet people who are buying, who are wholesaling, learn from their systems and strategies. So I think that's definitely a good idea. Definitely think bird dogging is a good idea, but I also think that, it wouldn't hurt to go out there and try to put yourself in front of the seller in a situation where you're forced to try to figure things out. What are you doing as far as marketing now? Yeah, so right now I got my VA. I ended up hiring another VA, and I wasn't looking for a VA because I wanted to do everything myself, but I had a VA that was already working for me. She does my data management. She's kind of like my admin, my assistant, and she's very good and she's very trustworthy. And she had her. Still hear me? Okay. My headset cuts out for some reason here. Let me turn some Pandora on the background because it just turns off because it doesn't hear any audio, which is stupid. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. But I had my VA doing the data management, and her brother-in-law is the one who was working for me, or her brother-in-law is the one that wanted to work for me, and he was pretty much begging me to work, and he said I'd work for free, and you can only pay me a commission. So, of course, I wasn't gonna let him work for free because I don't like going to bed at night knowing that somebody's working with no money. So I paid him $3 an hour, and I pay him a commission for stuff, and he's already got me like 3, 4 leads in his first 2, 3 days. So that, it shows me he's willing to hustle and willing to get it. And for that reason, I'm going to keep him on and see what happens. But I'm text blasting at the moment as well, using Smarter Contact. And I have a video I just did on how to build your pipeline. And I have the Smarter Contact. Maybe it's not in there, but I'll put the Smarter Contact link here if you're interested. But text blasting and cold calling is what I'm doing, and driving for dollars. So the deal that I'm doing right now, that again I hope it's $99,000 assignment. What's going to happen is, or what happened was, I was looking up a property from a different seller. And it was a vacant lot, and as I was looking it up on the Google Street View, I saw this abandoned apartment building across the street. And so I clicked over to it, and I was just looking at it, and I was like, man, that looks like an interesting property. So I added it to my system, and I found that it was owned by a LLC, and so I had to find the owner of the LLC and see if they're interested in selling. Saw that they owned it for a couple of years, so I knew they weren't going to be doing anything with it. And after about an hour of deep research, trying to find the LLC, I found the owner and I called him up, and so now we're under contract. It's really that simple. It's pretty crazy actually, and I'm super excited. If I'm optimistic it's going to close. I also understand nothing's done until it's done, but once it does close, I'm excited to announce it on my YouTube and share with you the details of it. Because man, it's this year's been a kick in the nuts, but that's why you got to keep pressing forward and be persistent and consistent every day. So you said you're text blasting and cold calling or driving for dollars? Did anybody else have any questions or anything? I see we got 3 viewers in here. I appreciate every one of you. I'd really like to help you out if you did have any questions. There's no dumb questions here, so take advantage of it, man. $50,000 worth of uh, experience and knowledge from somebody who's doing $100,000 plus a month, and then over $100,000 in mistakes. I'm an open book. Ask away. Ask away, because I'm only going to be doing a live for another 10 minutes or so. Hi Alex, thanks for all the videos you put out. Your content is always helpful when selling the properties. What's your favorite and quickest way to dispo? Hey Rick, I appreciate the kind words and the support. So thank you for that. What I suggest for the quickest way, if you don't have a buyer's list or people you've already dealt with and have sold to and you don't have them verified, the best way is to just put it out there on Craigslist, look up the Facebook groups, and cold call realtors. So realtors are a really great resource. You can pull all the cash transactions in the area surrounding your subject property on PropStream. And I have a video on my YouTube on how to do this, but you can pull up the area around the property and see all the cash transactions. And usually there's a realtor who listed that property. And so I call each and every one of them the first day I get it under contract and ask if they have any buyers who may be interested. And more than likely within the first page of 10 people, I find a realtor or two that has people that are interested, and I just get their email, I add them to my buyers list, and I go through it like that. I mean, you can find a buyer the same day if you really want to, as long as the deal is a deal. So that would be the quickest way to find a buyer, is to, filter the buyers out. One, I have a video on how to do that as well. But once you filter them out, keep them in categories, keep track of them. So I have a multifamily buyer right now that I'm looking to sell to, and I think of him every time, I get a multifamily because I know he can perform. And I mean, it's like a 5-minute conversation. And he says yes or no, and we move forward. Do you like bid conferences where several buyers meet at the property? I don't like to do that. I do not like to do that, but it is a good strategy. The only time I take that back. The only time I like that, Rick, is whenever there's a vacant property, there's a lockbox on it. I have multiple people show up at the same time because I don't have to worry about the seller getting overwhelmed or the tenants. And that's a really good way to get people to want to buy it at a higher price. Yes, so that's a good strategy. But whenever you gotta be kind of, you gotta be kind of, you gotta be, you gotta be there with the seller and or the tenants. You kind of want to be respectful of that, especially with COVID. So that's when no matter what, I tell the buyer, this is how I position the phone call. No matter what, here's what I tell the buyer. Hey, listen, we got a lot of interest on this property. I'm sending it out to you first. If you want to go check it out, go ahead. But we're looking to get all of our responses back, end of day today or tomorrow. So whatever you come back with, I'll be happy to take to my partner. But he's at the end of the day going to ask you what's your highest and best. And so just keep that in mind. And if they're saying, well, don't try to hustle me or anything like that. Just say, listen, I want to be transparent because I've done this before where I didn't tell you or I didn't tell my buyers there were other buyers looking at it and they got mad at me. So I'm just letting you know so nobody gets mad. You always know if you have zero interest in that property, whoever calls you first, you've got a ton of interest in that property. You tell them it's sales 101. Hey, this property is hot. I can't stop taking phone calls. I can't put my phone down. I get so many phone calls on this property. Somebody's gonna take this away today. So now you want to be kind of tactful about it because I've done that before on a property that wasn't a deal, and because of that, I had to go back to my buyers and they're like, well, I thought you said it was a great deal. Why didn't you? So when you first start out, you will make that mistake or you'll likely make that mistake. And that's no big deal. Just say, hey, listen, there's some things we found out about the property. The seller wasn't honest with us, and so for that reason, we're reducing our price to make it more reasonable or to make it more fair for our buyers. So just let us know. Josh Childers. Hey, Alex, thanks for doing these live vids. I posted a question in the Facebook group the other day. Have a second to check it out and tell me what you think. Hey, Josh. Usually answer all the questions. I'm sorry I didn't see it. What was your question? If you don't mind asking it here, I can probably answer it quicker than looking it up. I've been at it for a while, always looking for new angles, fresh insight. Thanks. Yeah, Rick, absolutely. So I'm sure you know from experience then, kind of what I was talking about, and know that if you say something wrong, or if you say something that makes you sound like you're desperate or anything like that, your buyers will take advantage of you. So why not just kind of condition them to think this property is on fire? And that's really cool though. That's really cool. Always keep an open mind. Even me, man. I always tell myself I don't know anything, and I love learning from you all. I love learning from other people. And so there might be a better way to do something, and I completely respect that and understand that as well. So if you have any input on anything I'm saying, definitely let us know, and appreciate that. Josh, I'm looking up oh, here, look. Yeah, I did see this or I didn't see it, but I don't know why I didn't get the notification. Love your channel. It's very helpful. Is this a crazy idea? My day job just got laid off. My teammates, our national team in different markets. Contemplating with JVing with two or three of them in different markets on this something that's better than nothing approach. My reasoning is I don't think I'm far behind the job and job cuts and quicker, and I can replace my income and focus on so. If I buy a solid list and do the discovery calls, I'm thinking 2,500, and when the deal closes, 20 for me, and I put the other 5K in the marketing pot and accelerate the future funds. I want to handle, negotiate, contract call, and everything after. They would have the time and motivation potentially. We've already been doing a lot of phone work the last 12 months, and is this an unrealistic idea? So you got to ask yourself, Josh, what do you want to do? Do you have a lot of time? It sounds like you might be balling on a budget. Um, it sounds like you might be balling on a budget. If that's not the case, then let me know. But I just want to make sure I understand the situation correctly. So it sounds like you're looking for a way to make income so you can focus on doing this full time, and you may not have the time. Is that right? So you have the money and you don't have the time, or you don't have the time and you have the money? Or did I just say that? So you either have the money or you have the time. Which one is it? That's the first step, figuring out which one you have. Because from there you can kind of determine what your next step is. But I would not say JVing is the best option. It is if you're working with somebody who's really good at what they do. Um, yeah, I confront the money, not as much on the time until April. Okay. If you can trust these people, and I mean really trust them, like, hey, if stuff hits the fan, are you gonna be able to trust them? Then you gotta ask yourself if that's a smart move, and only you can answer that. And if you trust their abilities and their willingness to perform, then obviously it might work out. And I think being the money person, it's definitely deserving of at least 50%. Um, but not everybody thinks that way. So a lot of people think the money person doesn't deserve that much. I know if I'm putting up my money, I would want at least 50%, and the only reason I would do that is because I don't want to spend the time to do it. But why not? Hmm. I'm a strong believer you have to get in the mud yourself before hiring out. So it's probably not the advice that you want, but my advice would be to depend on yourself more than I would them, and maybe after your work, even if you don't have a lot of time now, take the time that you do have, the free time, and apply it towards your business. Use this time to take action and make those mistakes. Learn and move forward, because if you got the money, then you got the money to make mistakes, and the money to uh, get exposure and experience. And from there, you're going to be able to get a better return on your investment, is what I'm saying. If you put it into somebody else, it's there's so many variables and so many factors that could go wrong. And for that reason, I don't I don't really care to work with other people. It almost always never works with a JV, and I only JV with people who ask the same questions I ask. So, for example, if I know they filter their buyers the same way I do, that's when I JV with them. I can trust them, and they have to have done deals before. So if they've done that before, you feel confident in their abilities, absolutely. See if they're open to it. But you gotta kind of ask yourself what you and your family's willing to risk, and things like that. What are your most effective marketing strategies? Francel, I think that's how you spell that. Yeah, that's a great question. So my most effective ones are cold calling. Actually, cold calling is the best one in my opinion. And driving for dollars. Facebook ads has been really, really good for me. Return on investment, I think I spent like 4,500 to 5,000, and it returned me around $48,000. So it's really good. Not so much now because they've changed a ton of rules, and I haven't actually done Facebook ads for about 6+ months. Um, because I wanted to focus on minimizing expenses and maximizing returns. So that's why I'm doing cold calling and text blasting. I was thinking that too. I'm working on getting in a wholesale deal, possibly now, and close one, and then go from there. I figured you might say that, and I'm sure you're right. Yeah, it's not the popular opinion, or it's not the popular answer, but I think it's the answer that people need to hear because it's a lot harder, or it's a lot easier moving forward after this point because you've accepted now, hey, it's dependent upon me, right? I don't have to depend on anybody else. Because whenever you get the answer that you want to hear, typically you go into it optimistic thinking it's going to be easy, and it's not. It's not easy. Sounds like Facebook is always changing the algorithm. Exactly. And that's kind of why I stopped too, because it's a great thing, but man, Zuckerberg can screw you over in a heartbeat. He could change the whole way he does everything. I'm not saying the guy's bad or anything. I'm just saying that's his business. It's his platform. It's really just, there's so many variables. I feel like direct mail, cold calling is always going to be cold calling, direct mail is always going to be direct mail. Text blasting, I could see that, being harder in the future, but it's always going to be there. Um, Things like that. How, how do you hold showings with TaskRabbit with lots of buyers? It's just the same thing. You just tell them, hey, listen, watch over these people, make sure they don't talk to the seller or the tenants, and if you have to, walk them through one by one. I mean, you can get as crazy as you want with it. You can be as specific as you want with it. And if you have somebody who's not competent or they don't want to do that, then, fire them and hire somebody else. What do you mean by changing? So I think what he means by that is, Facebook can change the rules on how they target people. So, for example, you used to be able to target by zip code. You can draw as small of an area as you wanted to target like a geographical area. Now you have to target people within a 15-mile radius of a pin drop. So you can't target within a small, it's because of housing rules. The housing authority doesn't want you to discriminate for rentals. And for that reason, Facebook was forced to change their rules on how they target people, even though we're not in the housing authority or, finding people rentals. They categorize real estate as all one thing. So, and because nobody knows what wholesaling is inside of Facebook, they're not going to adjust the rules just for a small group of people. And for that reason, the government's constantly cracking down on them, and their marketing becomes less and less effective on a grand scale. But for those who can learn and maximize from it, they're going to have the most opportunity because a lot of people are dropping out of it. So there's a trade-off there. That ROI is insane. Yeah, it was. And Facebook has been really good to me. But it's a lot to manage as well. And at the time, I felt like I should be building a stronger foundation for my business. So for those who don't know, I recently just kind of demoed my whole business. I fired my VAs and I started doing everything myself, starting getting the systems and strategies from like a free version. So I was paying for like the CRMs, the investor fuses. I had Lead Sherper for Text Blast, all these expensive platforms, and I wasn't using them to their maximum capability. And that's just because I didn't ever have the time to sit down and learn them, and then also take time to make training videos for VAs that may or may not work out. So I decided to try to go from like a rags to riches kind of approach and having minimum expenses to maximum profit, just like that Facebook return on investment. Because my first deal I did was from a $50 a month budget on Investor Carrot website. I made $65,000 from $50, a month. Those are the ROIs I like. You know what I mean? So exactly, they're insane. What system do you use or recommend for leads? You can use, so if you're going to pull high equities, I strongly recommend you use ListSource, and recommend you find somebody who has a membership there because you're going to get the leads cheaper, or you can just pay for the membership. I think it's like $100 or something. But The other one I would recommend is PropStream. So PropStream is $100 a month, and you can pull all these niche kind of lists. So utility liens, mechanic lien, water liens, uh, child support liens, HOA liens. You can pull vacants. You can pull tax liens. I mean, you can pull all kinds of different leads from PropStream, and for that reason, I would probably use PropStream. PropStream's dead. Why you say that? I like PropStream. I like PropStream for the comps and for I can find just the value. I don't know. I like PropStream a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. There's a lot of things that it sucks at, and I agree to that extent. But I feel like that's every platform because ListSource is super expensive compared to that. But really, realistically, if you wanted to, you could get PropStream, download 10,000 high equity leads, and from there you just filter. If you use a program like REI Sift, it's going to automatically tell you which one of those are vacant, and you can just target the vacants from there. Or you can absentee owners. You can target tax liens. I mean, you can get really crazy within list stack. So a lot of opportunity in there. And I used to be in the philosophy that you would buy a list, you cold call it once or twice, or mail to it, or market it to it once or twice, and then you buy a new list, right? If that list doesn't work, then it's something wrong with the system or the platform, and so that's not the case. Do you have a list automator for PropStream? I do not. I have REI Sift with Tyler Austin's program, so it's a list stacker. You can manage and tag your data, and every time I do a campaign of any kind, I update it. I update the leads, and I'm only contacting people I've never contacted, and I'm getting rid of those who are not interested. Yeah, so Rick, you're exactly right, and that's why a lot of people don't like REI Sift is because it does have a high learning curve. But just like the Facebook ads, it's got an extreme high learning curve, and the return on investment I have is a result of that because not a lot of people are taking advantage of it. And if you know what you're doing, it can be very profitable. And it's the same thing with REI Sift. That's why I love it because not a lot of people are going to buy into it. They hear the hype about REI Sift and how people are getting paid lots of money for it, but they don't realize that it's like a lot of data management. And I suck. I suck at data management. I'm unorganized. I'm terrible at managing my leads, and for that reason, it was very hard for me to wrap my mind around it. And it actually took me about 2 or 3 months before I started to kind of grasp the idea behind REI Sift. And there was times where I was like, man, this is stupid. I want to give up. I don't want to do it. But I strongly recommend if you stick through it, it's going to be worth it. What tool do you use to manage your funnel, your leads? So that's the REI Sift, is what I was talking about. So I have an affiliate link that I think I get like free t-shirts or something if you guys sign up. I don't He might pay you now, I can't remember, but I can put that link in the description if you guys or in this comment section if you want. You can check it out. But REI Sift, man, you can tag the data. So anytime I get a call or I make a call and somebody says they're not interested, wrong number, I can go into REI Sift, look up that specific property, that specific owner, that specific phone number, and I can say, well, this is the correct number. This lead said they're not interested, and then I know to follow up with them in 6 months by pulling the tag, not interested, March 2021, something like that. I'm not saying that there aren't better programs or there aren't other programs out there, but REI Sift is very user friendly in the way that it works once you learn how to use it. But at first, it's very overwhelming. But once you understand the concept behind it, Tyler should really hire me as a salesperson for this thing because I strongly believe in it. But um, with REI Sift, man, you can upload just a list of high equities, right? And then it'll automatically find through USPS, the system, USPS, which ones are vacant. So you actually get two lists of one by uploading one list of high equities. And from there, you can actually target it by an absentee owner, and it looks all this stuff up for you based off of the data that you put into it. So if you pull it from PropStream and there's absentee owners inside of there, because high equity is not very a specific filter. It's just people with high equity. It could be absentee owner. It could be people who owned it for 60 years. It could be people who owned it for 2 years. So REI Sift does a lot of the targeting and narrowing down for you. And you can list stack. So if you pull that from high equities and then you actually pull your tax liens, you can actually go into REI Sift and see which ones are part of both of those and target only those. And so it's a very, very cool thing. And then the ones that you can even skip trace inside of REI Sift, and the ones that when you go to skip trace them, you can't find any phone numbers. Um, and you skip trace it through multiple sources and you still don't find any phone numbers, those are the ones that you're going to want to spend the most time on trying to find the owner, because that means nobody else is finding them either. And actually that's what's going on with this 24 unit that I'm in the process of wholesaling. And like I said, it could turn into a $100,000 deal. By the end of this month, I could very well close on a $100,000 assignment, which would be my biggest one to date. And it came from something similar to that, because I know people weren't looking it up because it was owned by an LLC. And two of my biggest deal, well, this would be my second biggest deal, but the first biggest deal I did was 65,000. It came from an LLC owner. So how many people out there are teaching not to target companies or investors? I've actually made the most money off of investors. I had a 65K deal from an investor and a $18,000 deal from an investor, and he was actually a realtor too. And he didn't know I was wholesaling, and you'd be surprised at how much people don't know. And even the guy I have the 24 unit right now. He knows I'm wholesaling. He's an investor. He's a cash buyer. I was completely transparent with him after he explained to me he knows what it is. And I said, hey, listen, you understand that we're not going to put down a non-refundable deposit because he wanted one. I said, why don't you give us like 14 days to figure out if we can find a buyer, and if we can, you get paid your money and we get paid ours. And he said that'd be fine. I don't ever recommend positioning yourself as a wholesaler unless somebody like knows exactly what you're doing and you don't want to bullshit them, because I've done that here locally and I got backed into a garage and the guy threatened to not threatened to kill me, but he threatened to beat me up. And it was very eye-opening experience. So very eye-opening. I wasn't scared, but I should say I was nervous because I didn't know what the guy was going to do. I could have taken him, but he was an older gentleman. But it was just the way he did it, and he looked like Negan from The Walking Dead, so that didn't help either. But it was a very uncomfortable experience, I should say, and it could have all have been avoided if I would have just been honest with him, because he understood what I was doing, and he didn't care what I was doing as long as I was honest with him. So. But for this was an investor. I'm talking about investors here, guys. Normal sellers, they typically 99% of the time do not know. And actually, this is my cash buyer, so let me call you. Mute this real quick. So that was my cash buyer. I don't know if you can hear me, but that was my cash buyer, and he was calling back to let me know the repair estimate on the 24 unit I was talking about. And he's saying that it's a lot higher than what we thought it was, so it might be. It might not be a deal at all, so we'll see. But I'm optimistic. Yeah. So actually, it went way past the time frame I wanted to. Is there any last minute questions you all had before I hop off here for good? I don't know why I'm so dark on this screen. It's like brightly lit in my room. Give it about another 30 seconds here. If there's no questions, then I'll go ahead and close it off. But I do want to say, as I wrap this up, I really appreciate all y'all's support, love, watching the videos. I truly hope they do help. If they don't, please let me know so I can adjust it or fix it or explain something better. And if you've had any success from anything that I've told you or advice I've given you, please let me know. I love hearing about your all's successes, even if I was like a small fraction of that. I would love to know that kind of stuff. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It does help us grow and help inform the wholesaling industry. And also smash the thumbs up for this video. And if for those who already subscribed, I want to say thank you for your continued support and love. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Thanks again. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Josh. And thanks, Mari.